In this short video, we will see how to debug Spring Boot applications deployed in Kubernetes or OpenShift. To get started, let's go to start.spring.io and create a project called as Hello Boot with dependencies, web, and activator. After the project zip is downloaded, we'll have the same imported into the IDE. Having imported the project into the IDE, it's time for us to add a simple REST controller. Let's create a new class called as Hello Boot controller with a get resource on the path where am I, which returns a simple hello with the host name from where it is served. We will also add a simple message prefix property which we will use later to debug the app. To deploy the application onto OpenShift, we will be using a Maven plugin called as Fabricate Maven plugin. To configure the Fabricate Maven plugin, we run a Maven goal called as Fabricate setup in the project directory. After the setup is successful, we will see the Fabricate Maven plugin configured in our Hello Boot project. Having set up the plugin, we can use the plugin's deploy goal to deploy the application onto OpenShift. The simplest way to deploy the Spring Boot application onto Kubernetes is to have a Kubernetes cluster running locally. The Kubernetes cluster can be run locally using MiniShift or Minikube. I will skip the installation of these tools and assume they are available locally. For this video, I'll be using MiniShift to deploy the application onto Kubernetes. For more details on these tools, please follow the links in the description section of the video. To deploy the application onto OpenShift or Kubernetes, we run the deploy goal of the Fabricate Maven plugin. You will see the Fabricate Maven plugin pulling the required Docker image to build and run the Spring Boot application. Since I'm using MiniShift, the plugin is smart enough to do an S2Y build of the Spring Boot application and deploy the same on OpenShift. Let's monitor the application deployment on our OpenShift web console. As we saw the application successfully deployed onto OpenShift, it's time to verify to see if the application works. We can find the URL to access the application from OpenShift web console. Click the URL to access the deployed application. Since we have configured only one REST path called as where am I, we need to append it to the URL to get the response. Oops, there's an exception. Let's see the pod logs to find the exception trace. When we grep the pod logs for exception, we see a java.util.illegal format conversion exception which has caused the application to fail. To find it out, let's debug the application. Let's get back to the IDE and add an exception breakpoint for java.util.illegal format conversion exception. In order to debug the application deployed on OpenShift, we need to add an environment variable called Java enable debug to the deployment. We can do this by creating a deployment fragment called deployment.yaml under src main fabricate directory of the project. The Fabricate Maven plugin takes care of merging this deployment fragment with the generated manifest during build. Please note that the Java enable debug environment variable is honored only by Fabricate and OpenShift Java Docker images. To start debugging, we'll be using Fabricate debug goal. As we watch on the OpenShift console, running the Fabricate debug will cause the application to redeploy with debug enabled. Once the application is successfully redeployed, we can use our IDE to connect to the remote Java application via port 5005. The moment we refresh the application page, you will see the debugger breaking in the Hello Boot controller, and we notice the format of the string delimiters are not correct, which has caused error. Once we fix the formatting delimiters, we can run Fabricate deploy goal to trigger a new deployment. We can watch the application deployment status via OpenShift web console. Once the application is successfully deployed, refreshing the application URL again shows hello from the application. Thank you and hope you have enjoyed this small video on how to debug Spring Boot application on OpenShift. The source repository and other useful links are provided as part of the description section of this video.